in a list of numbers. Okay, now the numbers, right? Assume that these are the numbers that we want to find median. And what do you mean by a median? A median is the middle element. Okay, so suppose, right, if we have the list of numbers, say 1 2 3, and it is easier to find the middle element. Suppose if the list is containing odd, if the list is having odd numbers. Okay, that is odd number of numbers. So something like, right, the length of this list, the length is 3. Okay, so it is easier to find the middle element. What is the middle element? The middle element is 2. Okay, and before finding your median, the list has to be sorted. Okay, so suppose, right, if you want to find the median for 3 to say 5. Okay, now how to find the median for this? The first thing you have to do is you have to sort this list. So in a sorted list, so this is the sorted list. Now in a sorted list, what is the middle element? So that is what we mean by median. So in this is the sorted list we have. So in this sorted list, what is the middle element? The middle element is here. As you can see, the length of this list is 3. We have 3 elements in this list. Okay, so it is easier to find the middle element. So the middle element is the one that is occurring in the middle. It is easy to find that, and the middle element we are getting it as 3. Okay, and the length of the list is 3. Okay. Suppose, right, again, suppose the example is, say 12 23 and 45. Okay, now again the length of this list is 3. Okay, and it is in sorted order, right? So from the sorted order you pick up the middle element. So the middle element is 23. Okay, now this is fine, right? When if you want to find the median of a list containing odd number of elements, then this is fine. Okay, but what will happen if I have even number of elements in the list? So another example is, say suppose I have 10 12, okay, say 16 and then 14. So this is not a sorted list. So first we have to find the median. First you have to sort this list. So we will get 10 12 14 and then 16. Okay, now, right, what is the length of this list? The length of this list is 4. Okay, now as you can see, there is no single middle element here. Okay, so when you pick up the elements in middle, we will be getting these two elements. We will be getting 12. We will also be getting 14. So suppose if the list is having even length, if the list is of even length, then, right, what you have to do is you have to take the both the middle elements. Okay, so take both the middle elements, and then, right, you find the average of them. So the average of them, so 12 plus 14 divided by 2, so which will be equal to 13. So this is your median. Now if the list is even, then this is your median. If the list is odd, then it is not a thing, right? You just pick up what is the element that is in middle and then return it in the sorted. First you have to sort it, and then you have to pick the middle element. Again, if the list is even, first sort it, then pick the two elements in the middle, and then, right, you sum them, you find the average among them. Okay, the average, again, right, how to find the average of two numbers, right? So this is 12 plus 14 divided by 2. So we will, whatever the number result, right, that you return it as the median. We have already seen, right? So let us write a function that will find the median. Now the input to this function, it is a list. Okay, so what we are passing it here, it is an array of numbers. Array of numbers in Python, right? That is a list of numbers. So we are capturing it in numbers, right? The variable called as numbers. So first thing we have to do for finding median is we have to sort the list. So the numbers dot sort. So this will sort the numbers, right? So in case, right, if you pass 3, 2, and then a 1, now it will sort it as 1 comma 2 comma 3. Okay, and now, right, the middle, right, how will you find the middle number? Now middle is simple, right? It is finding the length. Now, right, how will you find the middle number here? So whatever is the length, that length divided by 2. Okay, so if you divide, right, the middle element index, right, if you divide it, so this is your middle index. whatever is the length, you divide it by 2, right? But we have a problem here. Now 3 by 2, right? 3 by 2, it is actually 1.5, is it not? Okay, and if you see the index of these elements, okay, now this is, since this is a list, right, or an array, so the index, right, the index of first element is 0, the index of second element is 1, the index of third element is 2. Okay, so the middle index, right, if I divide the length of the array divided by 2, I'm getting 1.5. But actually, where is, right, this 1.5, it can be converted as 2, it can also be converted as 1. Okay, the indexes, right, indexes of a list, they are integers, but the result of this division operation, it is a decimal point, right? It is a floating point value. So this 1.5, we have to convert it into 1, or whether we or you can convert it into 2. You can either scale up or scale down. Okay, but depending on, right, depending on what the problem we have. So here the middle element, it is stored in the index 1. So from 1.5, I have to get 1. Okay, now how to get, right, from 1.5, how will you get 1? You can either apply ceil function or a floor function, right? If you apply ceil function, we will get 2. If I apply a floor function, I will get 1. Okay, either you can apply these two functions, right? Or in other words, there is a separate operator, right? So we have already seen there is a separate operator called as integer division. Okay, so the purpose of integer division is it will truncate the decimal part. Whatever is there from the result, it will truncate the decimal part. So from 1.5, if we truncate the decimal part, we will get 1. Okay, so that is your integer division. So placing, right, 2 double slashes, will convert, right, will convert this 1.5 as 1. Now the middle element, it is stored in the index 1, right? So we are able to get from 1, right, from this middle index we are able to get 22. Okay, so the point is to find the middle, you find the length of the string and divide it by 2. But right, we have to get a whole number. So so what we do is take this 1.5, we have to get it as 1. We apply integer division rather than applying a division operator. We apply integer division operator. Okay, now what will happen, right, in the case of if the list is having even number, if the list is having even number of numbers, then in this case, right, we have to again, right, we have to find the middle element. Now the middle index is again apply the same formula, right? That whatever is the length, you divide it by integer division by 2. Okay, so we will get, right, here there is no need for integer division because right, the length is, it is 2, so we will not get a decimal point there, right? But still in Python, the floating point, whenever you are doing this division, you will always get, right, you will not get 2. 4/2, it is not 2, it is actually 2.0. Okay, so again, right, how will you truncate? You truncate the fractional part. Again, right, you can use the integer division, which will convert from 2.0, it will make it as 2. Now the middle element index is 2, right? We are applying the same logic as in on or length list, right? We are applying the same logic here. So we are getting 2, the element at 2. The element at 2 is, so this is your 0th element, this is 1, and this is 2, and this is 3. So what is the element at 2? The element at 2 is 14. So we are able to get this 14, right? So whatever the middle index that we are finding, it is actually the second number from the middle element. The middle element will have 2 numbers now, right? So 2 middle elements are there. In that, right, the second middle element we will get. Okay, now, right, we have to find the first middle element. How will you find the first middle element? So again, it is easier. Whatever is the middle index, that middle index minus 1, that is your first number. Okay, so this is your first number. So we will get, right, so the first middle, the second middle element, we will get it from the length integer division divided by 2. So we will get this 2. So we will get the second middle element. How will you get the first middle element? from the calculated middle index, you subtract -1. Okay, you subtract a 1. So we will get 12. Okay, now if I go and index, right? If I go and index this by 2, so this index is 2 and this index is 1. So 2 minus 1, we will get 1. Element at 1 is 12 and element at 2 is 14. So now I am getting 12 as well as 14. Okay, now we are getting 12 as well as 14. Now add them, divided by 2. Whatever is the answer, that is your median. Okay, so this logic, right, we have to write it as a function. Now as you can see, this median, so this is the function name. So this is the list of numbers that we want to find median. First thing is we have to sort. Next is we have to find the middle index, where the index, that is where in which index the middle element is present. So find the length of this list. The length of the list you can use len operator, len. So len of numbers will return the length of the list. Again, you divide it by 2. Okay, so as I mentioned, right, the list length is, if it is 3, we will get 3 divided by 2. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. Again, how will you get 1? You can even use int, right? Int of 1.5. Int of 1.5 will convert that into 1. Okay, it will omit the fractional part. And then, right, so now we got the index of the middle element, the index where the middle element is there. Now you can say numbers of that middle index. This will return the number that is present at the middle index. Okay, or it will return the middle element. But the point here is, suppose if I pass the list having odd length, then it will work fine, because right, it will see if I pass 3 to 1, the sort, right, it will return, the sort will return 1 2 3. Okay, now what is the length of this list? It is 3. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. Now integer of 1.5, we will get 1. Okay, so this we will get 1. And then, right, we will return numbers of, now middle index is 1. So we this will turn it as numbers of 1. Okay, what is numbers of 1? It is numbers of 0 and this is numbers of 1. So we will return 2. Okay, so it is working absolutely fine if the list is having odd number of numbers. Okay, so let us see here. So we are passing 3 to 1. Okay, the expected result is we have to get 2. In the sorted list, our middle element is 2, and the actual result we are getting it from the function call. So this is the function call, we are passing this, and this function, it is returning the middle element, and that middle element we are assigning it to test1. Okay, whatever is returned from this function, we are assigning it to test1. So if you go and print this test1, we will get the answer that is returned by this median. Okay, median function. So what is it it is returning? So it is returning 2. Okay, and what is the actual result? Actual result is also 2. So we are getting the correct answer. Okay, now what will happen if I have so let us comment this. So what will happen if I have 1 2 3 4? Okay, now again I'm calling this median, right? So now the list of now the list is having odd number of numbers. It is having odd number of numbers. Now, as I mentioned, for odd number of numbers, this logic is going to work wrong, right? The reason how right? Because when you go and try to find the middle element here, so now we will get the sorted list as 1 2 3 4. Now we will get 4 divided by 2, which is 2. The index is 2. Now we will be returning numbers of middle index, which is numbers of 2. What is numbers of 2? This is 0, this is 1, and this is 2. So we will be returning 3. So the output for test 5, that is 3. But what is the actual result? The actual result is between 2 and 3, we will get 2.5. That is your middle element. Okay, that is your median. So 2.5 we have to return. So we have to return actually 2.5, but we are returning actually 3, which is a wrong answer. Now how to fix this, right? So we have to check, right, depending on the length of this list that has been passed. We have to check whether it is a odd number list, right, the odd length list, or whether it is a even length list. Okay, so depending on that, you have to pick up the middle element. If it is an odd length list, then the logic is same. Okay, logic is same. If it is a even length, then right, as I told you right here, in case if it is an even length, you find the middle index by using the odd number logic, and then right, you use the, to find the first element, you use middle index minus 1. So let us see that. Okay, now you see right, this is your odd length for which it is not working. So this is the second version. Now again we sort it. Okay, so let us take this example. Let us take this example, right? So 10, 12, 14, and 16. So the whatever is passed is a sorted list. So if it is not sorted, again, right, you sort it, right? So after sorting, we will get 10, 12, 14, and 16. The index of these things. So index is, this is 0, this is 1, and this is 2, and this is 3. Okay. Now find the length of this list. What is the length of this list? The length of this list will be 4. Okay. Now we have to check whether it is an odd length list or whether it is an even length list. How will you check that? You take the length, right? You divide it by 2. If you are getting a remainder as 0, then that means it is an even length list, right? So this is an even length list. If it is equal to 0, it is an even length list. If it is not equal to 0, if we get a 1, right? So whenever you are applying mod 2 operator to any number, it will result in two values. Either it will return 0 or it will return 1. Okay, so this is a mod 2 operator. Okay, mod 2 operator, it will always return the result as either 0 or it will return it as 1. So that is the reason why we are writing it as if and followed by else part. Okay, otherwise we have to write again an else if statement here. Okay, so so this case, right, this case it is a even case, right? And else part for this, so this is a odd case. Okay, so if it is an odd case, you see here, if it is an odd case, you find the middle element, right? How will you find the middle element? Now length, integer division by 2. Okay, so if it is 3, then write 3 integer division by 2, we will get 1.5 converted as 1. So we will get 1. So return numbers of 1. Okay, so numbers of 1 is, if it is 1 to 3, we will get 2. Okay, so that is working fine. If it is an odd case, again you find the middle. How will you find the middle? Length divided by 2, again an integer division. Now where is your the second element? The second element is whatever you have found now, numbers of middle. Where is your first element? The first element is the middle, the whatever the calculated middle index minus 1. Is it not? This is your middle index. We are getting 2. Now 2 is 14. We are getting the second number. And then middle index minus 1, we will get 12. Okay. So the second, whatever we have calculated, that is your second number. And whatever is middle minus 1, whatever is middle minus 1, that is your first number. Okay, so this is your second number. Numbers of middle is second number, and numbers of middle minus 1, that is your first number. Now you add them, right, and find the average. So it is first. Okay, so plus second divided by 2. Now you return this. So let us see whether we are getting the answer. So this is your median of 2. This is also median of 2, and this is also median of 2. So let us check we are getting the answer. So you see here, okay, the result for 3 to 1, the result for 3 to 1. Now we are passing it here. It will come to the else part, calculate the length divided by 2 and numbers of 2. Okay. So it is returning, the expected result is 2. Expected result is 2. What this function is returning, median 2 is returning is, it is present in test 1. What is test 1? They are getting 2. Okay, so answer is correct. What about odd length case? 10, 12, 14, and 16. Okay, so here, it has to take 12 plus 14 divided by 2, we have to get 13, right? So you see here, the expected result is 13, and whatever the function is returning, it is stored in test 2, and it is returning again 13. Okay, so the answer is again It is correct. So this is your odd length case. Find the first, second element, find the first element, add them, find the average, and return it. That's all. Okay. Now, if you are passing 1, 2, 3, 4, then the expected result is 2 plus 3 divided by 2, which is 2.5. Now, what is returned from that function? It is stored in test 5. Okay. So it will find the second element and first element divided by 2. Okay. So it will return in test 5, and test 5 is printed here. So the expected result is 2.5. What is returned in test 5? It is also 2.5. Okay. So now our logic is working fine, right? So this is how we find the median in a list of numbers, okay, which is written as a function. Any doubts you have? Okay, so we will move on to the next function, right? Now given, right, given a decimal number, okay, now you know about the decimal number system. See, decimal number system, it will have, okay, now anything, right, anything to the base 10. So this is your decimal number system, okay. Now, what do you mean by this decimal number system base 10? So here, your numbers are starting from 0, right? So we will start from 0, right? And then we have 1, 2, right? So how many digits are there? Okay. 2, right? We will have 9 digits. Okay. So altogether, right, from 0, we will have 10 digits. And that is where any number, it can be represented to the base 10. This is your decimal number system. Okay. For example, right, you take 723, right? Now 723, it can be written as 7 again. It is coming from this set of numbers. 2 is also coming from this set of numbers. 3 is also coming from this set of numbers. Okay, so this is a base 10 number, right? Now, there is something called as octal number system, or take the case of a binary number system, where, right, we have only 2 digits, right? 0 and then 1, that's all. Okay, and this is, we are writing it as base 2. Okay, indicating that there are, in this set of numbers, in this number system, we are having only 2 numbers, 0 and 1. And whatever you are writing it here, so each of those digits, it has to be drawn from this set. Okay, so 1, it also belongs here, 0 belongs here, 1 belongs here. Okay, and this is a base 2 number. Okay, similarly, right, we have octal number system, wherein, right, it starts from 0 and then it goes to 1, etc., up to only up to 7. Okay, we will not get a 8, right? Now in the case, if it is an 8, then what will happen? So that is another question, right? So this is an octal number system. Here, any number, we can represent it to the base 8. Okay, now this is your octal. And next is, we are having hexadecimal. Okay, in a hexadecimal number system, see, we are getting 0, 1, 2, up to 9, right? It is the same as your decimal, but right here the base is actually 16. Okay, so any number, you have to write it with the base 16. And what will happen to 10, right? So these are the individual digits, right? 0, 1, 2, etc., up to 9. And what will happen to 10 is, 10 is represented as capital A. Okay, and then, right, 11 is represented as capital B. Okay, and 12 is capital C, and then 13 is capital D. Okay, and then 14 is capital E, and then 15 is capital F. Okay, now how many numbers we have? We have, up to this, we have 10. Okay, and then 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we are getting base 16. Okay, now for example, an example for this number is, for example, say we have, you pick up any number from here, say 3, F. Okay, now this digit 3 is also coming from this set, F is also coming from this set. Now this is a decimal number. Okay, so these are the different number systems we have. This is your decimal number, this is your binary number system, this is your octal, and this is your hexadecimal number system. And mostly, right, this hexadecimal, whatever the numbers we have internally inside your computers, they are actually represented as hexadecimal numbers. Okay. So what we are going to do now is, given a decimal number, we are going to convert it into a hexadecimal number. Okay. Now how to write, given a for example, right, if you take the hexadecimal number system, so so we have to start with 0. Next number is 1, 2, 3, right, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay, and then 9. And as I told you, 10, instead of 10, we will be getting a capital A, right, and then B, C, right, and then D, E, and then F. Okay, so up to this we will have. Now, what will happen after F, right? Okay, what is the next number after F, right? So this is right, an equivalent decimal will be, so this is your, if you write it the same thing using decimal, so this is 0, 1, 2, 3, right, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this is your 10, right, 10 and 11, right, so this is your 12, 13, 14, and then 50. Okay. Now, if you continue like this, right, next number will be 16, right? So 16, so this is your decimal, right, base 10. So how will you convert the 16 into hexadecimal number, which is base 16? Okay. So to convert this, right, there is a simple procedure. So what you do is, you take this decimal number and then you divide it by 16. Okay. So this is your decimal number. Now we have to convert it into base 16. So you divide it by 16, right? Now you take the quotient. Now quotient is 1 into 16 is 16, right? And what is the remainder we will get? So if I 16, if we divide it by 16, your quotient is 1, and the remainder is, it is 0. Okay, so we are getting actually 1, 0. And how to read this? You have to read it like this. Okay, 1 followed by 0. So we will get 1, 0. So that is the hexadecimal representation of 16. Okay, so if we continue this for 16, we will get 1, 0. Okay, and for 17, say 18. Okay, for 19. So we will get, this is 1, 0, this is 1, 1, this is 1, 2, so this is 1, 3, right? How will you get these numbers? For example, if it is say 23, okay, suppose I want to find for 23. So take 23, okay, and then you divide it by 16. Now it goes one time, the quotient. Now 1 into 16 is 16. Now 23 minus 16, it will be 7. Okay, so the number is 1, 7. You see here. So this is 1, 3. So 20 will be 1, 4. 21 will be 1, 5. 22 will be 1, 6, and then 23 will be 1, 7. Okay, so we are getting 1, 7. Okay, you take any number, right? For example, let us take 45. Suppose I want to find the hexadecimal equivalent of 45. Again, take 45 divided by 16. So how many times it goes? 1 into 16 is 16. 2 times 16 is 32. 3 times 16. So we will get 48, right? So 2 times, that is your quotient. So 2 times 16, 32. 45 minus 32, we will get the remainder. So what is the remainder we are getting? We are getting the remainder as 13. Okay. Now, so this 13. Now this 13. What is 13 in hexadecimal? See, 13 in hexadecimal is D. So we will get 2D. Okay. So this is your final answer, right? So for 45, if you represent it as hexadecimal, we will get 2D. Okay, to the base 16. So whether this conversion is, are you able to understand this conversion? How we are converting decimal number into a hexadecimal number? Now the same thing, right? We are going to write it as a function. So given any decimal number, given this decimal number, we want to convert it into a hexadecimal number. Okay. Now, suppose, right, the first thing we have to do is, suppose if I pass 13, suppose if I pass 10, I have to get capital A. If I pass 11, I have to get capital B. If I pass 12, I have to get capital C. 13, capital D. 14, capital E, right? So let us write a function called as equivalent, right? Equivalent, hex equivalent. Okay, EQ hex. If I pass a digit there, right? If I pass any number, that number, let us call it as digit. Now, if the passed number, if it is between 0 to 9, okay, so if it is greater than 0 and if it is lesser than 9, so that means it is it is in this range, right? It is in this range. So if it is within this range, whatever is passed, that is the same answer as hexadecimal, right? If it is 0, we have to return 0. If it is 1, we have to return 1. If it is 2, we have to return 2. So it is the same thing as decimal number. Whatever is passed, so whatever is passed, that is your decimal, right? But right, when it is coming to 10, we have to get capital A. So for 10, how will you get a capital A, right? So for that, right, if it is within 0 to 9, right, we will return the same number. We will return the same number. Now suppose, right, if it is not within this range, that means it is greater than it is greater than 9. Okay, if it is 10. Now if it is 10, now what you do is, okay, there is a function called as ORD. The purpose of ORD is it will return the ASCII character, okay, the ASCII equivalent, right, ASCII equivalent of a character that is being passed. Now this function, it will return, it has to return, if it is 10, it has to return the character capital A. Okay, so if it is 11, it has to return the character capital B. Like this, it has to return. Now this ORD, right, it will give you the ASCII value. It will give the ASCII value of a character. Now if it is between 0 to 9, right, if it is 0 to 9, now what we do? If I pass 9, it will return the character 9. Okay, if I give 8, it will return character 8. Not a double quote, right? It is a single quote, a character 9, and this is a character 8. What is the difference between a number 9 and then a character 9? A number 9, it is simply, right, the decimal equivalent is 9. Whereas, right, if you take the character 9, it is having an equivalent of the ASCII value. Okay, now character 9, it is equivalent to your character 0 plus 9. Okay, whatever is the ASCII equivalent of, if it is for character 9, whatever is the ASCII equivalent of 0, it will be plus 9. Okay, now what is ASCII equivalent of 0? ASCII equivalent of 0 is 48. Okay, and then if you add to the 48, if you add 9, so we are getting 57. Right, so this is the ASCII equivalent for character 9. Okay, so this ORD, it will return the ASCII equivalent, right? It is actually returning the Unicode, but let us assume that it is returning the ASCII equivalent. So ASCII equivalent of 0, character 0, this is within single quote, so it is character 0. ASCII equivalent of character 0, it is equal to 48. Whatever is the digit that is being passed, if you are passing between 0 to 9. Suppose if I am passing 5, now ASCII equivalent of 0, that is 48, it will be plus 5. So 5 plus 48. 5 plus 48 will be 53. So that is the ASCII equivalent of 5, character 5. Okay. So this is right. In order to convert, right, if it is 0, we have to get character 0. If it is 1, we have to get character 1. If it is 2, character 2, right? So up to 9, it is fine, right? Between 0 to 9, it is fine. Suppose if you are passing 10, then what we do, right? Then so if you see here, for 10 we have to get A, right? Now ASCII equivalent of A, it is 65. ASCII equivalent of A is 65. Okay, so so suppose, right, if we are passing say 12, okay, now for 12, right, we have to get capital C, right? For 12, we have to get capital C. Now you see here, we start from the ASCII equivalent, right? The ASCII value of capital A. ASCII equivalent of capital A is it is 65. Okay, we start at 65. So it is, in order to get C, from 65, I have to add an index here. Some increment I have to make. So what is that increment? That increment is whatever the number you pass it here, it is minus your 10. Okay, so you see here, so here we will be getting 2, right? So 12 minus 10, which will be 2, right? So 65 plus 0, right? So that is your so 65 plus 0 is your capital A, right? And 65 plus 1, 65 plus 1, that is your capital B. Okay, right? And then 65 plus 2, so 65 plus 2, that is your capital C, right? So suppose if we are passing 12, if I am passing 12 to this, right, to this function, now 12, right? So digit minus 10, the one that we are passing is in digit, that is 12. 12 minus 10 is 2. So that is 2 plus the ASCII equivalent of capital A. Okay, so you see here 2 plus ASCII equivalent of capital A, right? So if I want to get F, if I want to get F, I am passing 15. I want to get F. Now from 15 you subtract 10. From 15 you subtract 10. We will get 5, and 5 plus the ASCII equivalent of A, that is plus 48. Okay, so this will give you, right, this function will give you if it is between 0 to 9, it will return the character, right, corresponding character. If it is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, then it will return A, B, C, D, E, F respectively. Okay, so this is, right, this is the purpose of this function. Okay, but it will work only for a single character, right? So suppose, right, you see here, if I am passing, right, for this equals, right, for this function, if I am passing 15, now what I have to get? I have to get F, because the equivalent for 15 is F, so I have to get an F here. So I'm getting an F. Suppose if I pass 10, so we are getting A. If I pass 11, we are getting B. If I pass 12, we are getting C. Okay, so the logic is working fine, right? If I pass 13, we are getting D. So how we are getting it? So it will come over here. It checks whether whether whatever you have passed, whether it is between 0 to 9. So suppose if I pass 3, then this condition is true, right? Then this condition is true. So what we do is we take the ASCII value of 0, right? That is 48. So 48 plus whatever is passed, it is 3, it is 51. So we will get a 51 here. But that 51 is an ASCII value. So that ASCII value, in order to convert it into character, right? So 51, right? 51 is, sorry, right? If we take 9, if I pass a 9 here, 9, I have to convert it into character 9. Okay. So to convert, right? To convert the ASCII equivalent into a character, you have a function called as CHR. So CHR will convert, it will take an ASCII value and convert it into corresponding character. Okay. So for 48, right, this is your ASCII and this is your corresponding character. For 49, right, this is your ASCII value, corresponding character is B. Okay, so if you want to do this conversion, take an ASCII value and convert it into a character, you have to use CHR. Okay, the CHR. So take this ASCII value and convert it into a character, we have to use CHR. Okay, so we will get the equivalent, right? So if it is 97, if you pass 97 for CHR, we will get a small a. Okay, that is your corresponding character. Now suppose, right, so if we are passing 9, then it is going to return the character, because we are returning the character here, so it will return character 9. Okay, now suppose if I am passing say 13, now what is happening? Now this condition will fail, so it will come over to the else part. In else part, what we are doing, we are subtracting 13 minus 10. 13 minus 10 is 3. So 3 plus the ASCII value of capital A. ASCII value of capital A is 65. Okay, so 65 plus your 3. Okay, so 65 plus 3 is 68. So 68, again you convert it into the character, right? The corresponding character of 68. So for 68, the corresponding character will be, it is 65 is A, 66 is B, right? And then 67 is C, right? And 68 is D. Okay, so we will get a D here. So it is returning D. So we are printing it here. We will get a D here. Okay. So is this function is clear? Any doubts you have? So understanding this function is important, right? After that, it is a straightforward approach. Okay. Next, right? Let us pass, right? Let us pass. Let us say, right? I want to find the hexadecimal equivalent of 45. Now let us pass it to. Let us write a function convert, which will take the decimal value and it will return the hexadecimal equivalent. Okay. So this is our conversion operation. This function, it is getting the decimal value, right? That 45. So here we are passing 45. Okay. Now we are trying to, okay, this is a simple, right, print statement, right? Now what we do is you apply the same procedure here for 45, right? So 45, what we do, we divide it by 16 and then take out the we divide it by 16 and note down the quotient, okay, and then note down the remainder, right? So what is the remainder now? See, suppose, right, if your number is, say, let us keep it as 100. So 100 divided by 16, what is the decimal hexadecimal equivalent? So 100 divided by 16, how far it will go? So will it go 6 times? Right? So 16 into 6, we will get 36, 3, 96, right? So the remainder is 4. Okay. Now let us take 175. Okay. Now 175 divided by 16. So it will be 10 times, right? 160. And then for 15, we will get a F. Okay. Now what is for 10? Now what is 10? See, again, right, you try to divide it by 16. See, you have to continue this process. You take the number, you divide it by 16, take the quotient, again you divide it by 16, again take the remaining number, again you divide it by 16. Like this, you have to go until, right, you get the number, this number, it is lesser than 16. Okay. So again, right, what we are getting it here is 10. Again, if you divide it by 16, we will be getting a quotient 0, right? We will not be getting any quotient. The remainder will be 10. Okay. So again, we will get a quotient 0, remainder 10. Now what is the hexadecimal number? This is your hexadecimal number. As you can see, first you have to write 10 followed by F. Okay, 10 followed by F. What is 10? 10 is A. So the equivalent is AF. Okay, so let us check this whether we are getting the correct answer. Okay, so this is 175. See, the hexadecimal equivalent is AF. Okay, so it is the same thing, right? Now suppose, right, if I give let us take it as 1700. Okay, let us take it as 1700. Now let us see what will happen. Okay, so if it is 1700 divided by 16, so this will be 1 times, right, and then this will be 10, right? So again we will get a 0, and then we will be 100. So whether we will get a 106. So what is 106? So 106 into 16, we are getting 1696. Okay, now what is the so 1696, if you subtract it from here, we are getting a 4. Okay, So 106, the remainder is 4. Again, right, this number, again you divide it by 16. Okay, now why you are dividing it again? Because this number, it is greater than 16. So again, we have to convert it into equivalent hexadecimal. Okay, so this 106, again you divide it by 16. So we will get 6 times, right? We will get a 96 and the remainder is 10. Okay, now what is the hexadecimal equivalent? We have to start from here. Okay, or in other words, you can even divide it again by 16 and you can do. But right, let us say now we are stopping this division process. Why? Because the quotient that we are getting, it is lesser than 16. Okay, so no need to divide it again. So you start from here, right, and then you write the number in this manner, in the reverse manner. So the final quotient we get, followed by the final remainder, followed by the previous all remainders. So this number is 6, 10, and then 4. Okay, 6 in hexadecimal is 6 only, but 10 in hexadecimal it is A, and then 4 in hexadecimal it is 4. Now you see here, right, for 1700, we are getting 6A4. We are getting 6A4. Okay, so that is right. So that is the hexadecimal equivalent. Now, how you find it? Now you compare this process with this, right? Now take the decimal value. You find the remainder first. So this is right. We are finding the remainder. Okay. Now that remainder, see, if the remainder is 10, we have to get capital A, right? We have to get a capital A. Now already we have written a function equivalent hex. Now for that, right, if you pass this remainder, it will return the corresponding digit. Okay, it will return the corresponding digit as capital A, right? Now, so that we are storing it in converted. Okay, so in converted variable, it will find the equivalent, right? Equivalent for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. If it is from 0 to 9, it will return equivalent character. Okay, character 9, right? And next, right, we have to continue with the next iteration. How will you know to how will you know, right, whether to continue with the next iteration? See, this is right, this we will get the quotient. Now the decimal value mod 16 we will get remainder, decimal value integer division 16. Okay, we will get the quotient. So integer division quotient, integer division, right, by 16 we will get the quotient. You see here, this is actually right, 1700 divided by 16. If we divide it, right, if we want to get only the quotient, then you have to cut that fractional part. Now cut that fractional part, you use this integer division divided by 16. So we will get 106. This 106 is stored in decimal value. This is in decimal value. This is your new decimal value. Start with 1700 is your decimal value. Next iteration 106 is your decimal value. Okay, now we modify this as 106. Again you continue this loop. Okay, again decimal value, if it is greater than 0, again, right, we go here, find out the remainder, right, that remainder you find the equivalent of that. Okay, and then, right, we try again, right, you continue with the next iteration, again continue with the iteration, take the quotient, check if the quotient value is again greater than 0, again you continue the next iteration. Okay, you can write this condition as either decimal value greater than 0 or decimal value which is greater than or equal to 15. Okay, decimal value, if it is greater than 15. Okay, so that way also it will work. Okay, now every time, so how will you find the answer? Now the answer is, for the first time I am getting the remainder. Now from here I don't need this 106. What I need is 4. From here I don't need, right, I don't need this this quotient. What I need is only the remainder. Okay, for that, right, I am doing one more iteration. Again you divide it by 16. Now it goes 0 times. What is the remainder? That is 6. By that way we can omit this quotient, the last quotient. Okay, so again you divide it by 16, right? So even if it is lesser than 16, you divide it one more time, right? Now it will go only 0 times. You take the remainder. Okay, now if you try to write it, you consider only the remainders and write it in reverse manner. So we will get 6, 10, 4. So we will get this 0 you can omit because it is a quotient. This you can omit. So it is 6A4. Okay, so that logic is here. If the decimal value is greater than 0, again it will go for one more iteration, right? and then it will continue. If it is, if you go for one more time, again you divide it by 16. Now it is not, it will not go for this iteration because the value here, it is not greater than 0. So at this point it will come out of this loop. Okay, now how will you store the answer? How will you store the answer? The one I am getting it here, that is actually the last number I have to get. Okay, and the last number and the last remainder we are getting, that is actually the start of the number. Okay, so for that you can store it inside a string. And then write whatever the converted value, whatever is the converted value, you concatenate to the beginning. Okay, you don't add it to the end, you concatenate it to the beginning. So to start with, when I get this 4, my hex value is empty. My hex value is empty. Okay, now take this 4, I concatenate with this, so it will be 4 plus empty. Okay, which is 4, which is your string 4. Next time I'm getting 10, this will be turned as capital A, this will be turned as capital A. Now A, I'm to this 4, I'm concatenating to the beginning. Okay, so we will get A plus character 4. Okay, so here we will get a string A4 after this answer. Okay, next remainder is 6, right? Again concatenated at the beginning, so we will get 6 plus A4. Okay, string A4, which we will get 6A4. So it is very simpler, right? When you try to visualize this thing as a string, right? In a string, by using concatenation, right, you can append it, right? Append it to the beginning. Whereas, right, if you think in terms of a list, we have to only append it at the end. Again, you have to reverse that list to get the answer. Okay, so that is the reason why it is treated as a string. Okay, so I will paste this. You go through this. It is also available in your textbook. You go through this, right? And if you have any doubts, you can ask it tomorrow. So we will stop here and we will continue tomorrow. You go through this function, right, while you are coming for tomorrow's class.